guys, this is Heather from healthyveganrecipes.net. Okay, I'm back at home. That means two things. Number one, I have my good camera back. Number two, I have Phil's garden back. So I get to make all kinds of yummy stuff with fresh herbs, fresh vegetables, and lots of fun times. Now, I am filming outside because what I'm going to film for you today is a really easy recipe that you don't even need to do in the kitchen. I know you guys like to see green stuff behind me instead of the kitchen, so I thought it'd be fun for me, fun for you. The only downside is that there are a lot of crickets out here and a lot of people out mowing their lawns, so I apologize for any background noise, but anyway, what we're going to do today is, because up here it's tomato season, and I hope wherever you guys are, you at least have access to some really fresh, awesome tomatoes, because we're going to make a really easy gazpacho recipe. Gazpacho is a cold tomato soup, and it originated in Spain, so we're going to put some vaguely Spanish flavors in there, Mediterranean ones anyway. This week on my nutrition blog, I was talking about the benefits of local food, and having a garden in our backyard is so amazing because I just picked these. They were fully ripened on the vine, so they have all of the nutrients that they were meant to have. Plus, Phil has a bunch of different varieties of tomatoes growing that I never find in the grocery store. So these are just some regular red tomatoes. These ones are some type of heirloom type of tomato. And then these ones are really cool because they're pink. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference on the video camera, but they're a different type of tomatoes. So they're gonna have slightly different types of nutrients. So that's awesome. I've also got some yellow cherry tomatoes, which are really, really tasty. And some red cherry tomatoes as well. So that's gonna add some different flavors to my gazpacho. You can use all the same variety of tomato if you want though. And the first thing to do is to chop up all of these tomatoes. So that's gonna take me a little bit of time. While I do that, you guys can go check out the recipe. It's gonna be posted at healthyveganrecipes.net. If you're watching the video not on my website, you can just follow the link right underneath the video. So just chop these up. We're gonna puree it a little bit so you don't have to worry about being too perfect with your chopping technique. All right, for anyone who is allergic or sensitive to tomatoes or gives them acid or anything, I'm sorry, there's really no substitution for the tomatoes on this one. I personally don't tend to eat tomatoes through the winter because I do find that they give me a little bit of phlegm in my throat. Anyway, in the summer, when they're ripe, I make an exception and I eat tomatoes because they're just so good when they're super ripe like this. Oh my God, I did it! Okay, there's my last tomatoes. They're going into a really big soup pot. And then I'm gonna cut up the other veggies that are gonna go in here, which I'll just quickly show you are a couple green peppers that Phil grew, cucumber that Phil grew, some garlic that Phil grew. I'm going to press it with my garlic press so that it gets really fine and mixed thoroughly in there. Some shallots, which are like little baby onions that Phil grew. I've got, I'll stop saying that Phil grew. He grew everything except for a couple things here. Some fresh basil. Here's my fresh basil. And some fresh parsley and chives. And then I've got a small little hot pepper that I tried taking a little bite off the end. It's not that hot and has a really nice flavor. So I'm gonna put this in. I might even put two. You don't have to put hot pepper in though if you don't like hot stuff. This is totally fine just as it is without anything hot. Phil grew these. And then I'm gonna put some lemon juice or some lime juice in here because I don't have a lemon. This is not grown by Phil. We can't grow limes up here. And some salt and pepper and some balsamic vinegar. So that is all gonna go into the pot, and then we'll move on from there. Whew. Well, I finished cutting up the hot pepper and tasted a little bite of it before I put it in the pot, and I was wrong on the hotness level. It is insanely hot, And so I had to run to the kitchen, and they always say, you know, to drink milk when you have something hot because water doesn't help. So I tried eating a banana, which actually didn't help all that much, and it wasn't until I got some water that it started to cool down. So while I recover here, I thought I would share some tips on dealing with hot peppers for anyone who hasn't dealt with them before and doesn't do well with hot things like myself. Okay, the first time I cut up a hot pepper, I didn't realize that you shouldn't touch the seeds. So be careful of the seeds, especially if you have any little cuts on your hands. It will burn for hours afterwards. So try not to touch the seeds. And I'm wondering if maybe it didn't taste hot the first time because I cut a piece off and it didn't have time to juice, or maybe the top part of the pepper is in contact with the seeds so it gets hotter. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. And then when you're cutting up the pepper, you also want to be careful of your fingers because the oils in the pepper will really sting if you're not used to them and if you have cuts on your hands. If you want to use gloves, I am not above using gloves when I cut hot peppers. Try to cut them up really small so that they get incorporated into the whole soup. And usually the bigger the pepper, the less hot it is. So jalapeno peppers aren't too terribly hot, but the little serrano chilies are crazy hot. Okay, I think I'm all right now. So what I'm gonna do is press some garlic, chop up some shallots, get some lime juice in there, and season it with my fresh herbs, my salt, pepper, and balsamic vinegar. And then I'm gonna just puree things a little bit so things are chunky but slightly smooth. Okay, so once you finally get all of your veggies chopped up, and I will say, for those of you who want to use a food processor, this goes a lot faster. So get your veggies chopped up, put them in a soup pot, and then you can blend them up a bit, or if you chop them up finely enough, you can get away without using it, and maybe you like that. Generally, gazpachos are made slightly blended so that they are blended up, but not super smooth. And I used my handy immersion blender. They are perfect for making soups because they're super easy to clean up. And then you just want to make sure after all your seasonings are in, you just give it a taste. It's not the most attractive looking soup because the red tomatoes and everything green in there kind of blend together for a bit of a browny kind of color, but it does taste really awesome, especially when you get it seasoned just perfectly. So if you want to, you can add a little bit more balsamic vinegar. Salt and pepper are always helpful for raw foods because it helps soften their flavor and their bitterness and helps bring all the flavors together. Now, the last ingredient for this soup, I'm gonna call it an ingredient and be all cheesy on me, is thyme. Not the herb, just like let it sit for a while, because the longer it sits, the more the flavors are gonna merge and develop and become really, really delicious. So this is gonna be dinner. So what I'm gonna do is just put the lid on and keep this in the fridge or on the counter and let the flavors develop. Now, when I told Phil that I was making gazpacho, he said, "Oh, is that cold tomato soup?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I don't think I like that." He likes hot soups. I like cold soups, especially in the summer. So what you can do is you can heat this up if you want to. It's not going to be the traditional cold gazpacho, but it's whatever you want to eat. So if you want to heat up a little pot for yourself, go for it. And if someone else wants to eat it cold, you can just fish out a bowl before you do that. So that's it. That's a really super easy gazpacho recipe. Like you can see, I did it without a kitchen. I did bring my hand blender outside because there's a plug out here, but you don't need to use that if you chop things up finely enough. So this recipe is great for people who are traveling or for students who don't have access to a kitchen. And it's raw for those people who want to do a nice raw recipe for your summer. And it tastes good. That's the most important part. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, you can find the recipe over my site, healthyveganrecipes.net. And that's it for me today. So I will see you again soon.